Hi, Kathy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Bede?
Yeah, I'm not bad. Thank you.
Yeah, good.
Um, you were wanting to discuss an important a thing is that what is the what where does Ken Wapnick stand with the course? Like, how are we to understand him, and how are we to understand his importance to the course? So, if you could just start to speak on that, that would be good.
Sure. What I would say about Ken first is that he had an uncompromising approach during his lectures in addressing the metaphysics of the course and how everything is happening at the level of the mind. And so the solution to the problems that we think we're confronted with, that we think are causing us pain and discomfort and upset, the cause is not outside of us. And that is that is a primary aspect of the course that he taught by weaving in his exceptional understanding of psychology, philosophy, and music. And he brought everything he loved to teach that fundamental lesson. There is no world. Everything is happening at the level of the mind. And as we go through our practice of that fundamental nature of, you know, the universe, we we look out and then let me restate that. He called the dream the royal road to our unconscious mind. So if I'm blaming something outside of me, the reason why I'm doing that is because I have guilt inside me that I need to project.
Right. So what we're talking about here is that famous saying in the course that when we're looking, the outward condition is an outward picture of an inward condition.
Yes, I
So
couldn't put those.
whatever I'm looking at, what I'm perceiving is an object away from me, and the mind is perceiving it. So anything that I'm perceiving, any object I'm perceiving, it could be a thought, a feeling, a person, an event, a condition, a physical condition, doesn't matter. When I feel that any of those objects are hurting me, that means that I believe that they're objective to me, they're outside me, they're real, and therefore have the power to set me. What Wapnick stresses is that uh, what I'm looking at is the way I, I the two rules of perception. I'm seeing it because I believe it. So my senses are showing me something. We're not denying what the senses are showing there,
Right.
but then I project a meaning on that. What the senses are showing, what does it mean? It means that that person is a real so and so, or the world completely sucks, or I'm just so helpless before this feeling. Those are actually beliefs. The experience comes out of the belief, but it comes out of my belief about the meaning of the thing. It doesn't happen to me, actually. It's coming out of me. And so he emphasized the fact that the problem is centered on me because it's my way of seeing what's happening in front of me. Would that be right?
Yes. And he emphasized how purposive it is and that we're making a choice that we're not conscious of, that we don't remember deciding what we are, but what we experience is a denial of self. And when we deny ourself, we experience the opposite. So if we're love, we experience hatred.
Right. So for example, when I'm upset with someone and blaming my spouse for my upset, if I was really at home in God, I wouldn't be upset. But
Right.
because I've fallen away from that, that's the real meaning of my problem. But now, instead of seeing the real meaning of my problem that I have fallen away, I'm now blaming someone else for the problem so that I have the misery, but it's not mine. It's caused by you.
Yeah.
To keep it away from the realization that because I can choose to rest in God at any one moment, why aren't I doing it? It's purposeful, and because if in the presence of God I can't exist as a separate and apart entity. So in fact,
Yes.
I want to keep the presence of God at bay, when in fact the solution is that when I can abide in the appreciation of God's presence, I'm no longer suffering.
Right. And as the Course says, of all the causes you thought were responsible for your upset and the way you feel, your guilt was not something that you saw as the reason. But in fact, it's the only reason. The guilt we feel over believing that we turned our back on God, denied truth, killed him off so we could be a separate thing. That guilt is the cause of all of our pain.
Right. And the guilt manifests in the present, where I constantly in my life today want to keep away the presence of God in order to preserve my sense of identity. And I just want to say something about here how Ken clarified guilt. A lot of people think guilt just means something I've done that's bad. He guilt takes many forms, because even when you're afraid, it's like I hate being what I'm like. That's guilt. When I'm annoyed, uh, any kind of misery centered on me, put
Yes.
under the umbrella guilt, because any form of suffering is I hate being what I'm like now, and you've caused it, and I have to change you in order to fix it. So that hating being what I'm like, because when I'm resting in God, I don't hate being what I'm like. I'm at home with myself. But when I fall into guilt, it's quite evident I hate being like this. And this hate I hate being like this is guilt, isn't it?
Yeah, all pain, pain and fear, whatever you're experiencing stems from the guilt over what we think we did. And that kind of the way that Ken would address why we can see that and we can understand intellectually the Course and still not do what Jesus tells us to do and be unwilling to forgive because of resistance, which is born of the terror in the mind. So we're not conscious of the terror, even though that terror in the mind gave rise to the world. The magnitude of that is something that we can't understand or see. All we can see is what we've made.
Well, I notice with Ken Wapnick, often what he says is, well, he doesn't say it often, but he says that what the Course is there is to teach you you're actually miserable. That sounds really,
Yeah, right.
that sounds, that sounds really, when we look at
Oh, you're losing audio. Um, just make sure that, okay, go again.
human life,
Okay.
when I'm being arrogant, you think I'm aware of the depth of the feeling of inferiority. When I'm judging
Yeah,
and saying you are the ones who are evil and bad, I think I'm aware of the misery of guilt. When
yeah.
I'm attacking or being hostile, do you think I'm aware of the hurt? No, all of these are unconscious, and this is the thing that Freud pointed out. But what's so interesting about Wapnick is that he understands clearly that unless we actually get in touch with what we're actually like, as separate and apart from God, first of all,
Yeah.
unless we do that, we won't feel that we actually have the problem, the very problem that the Course solves, which is the inward condition, my mind and my heart. If that doesn't change, uh, then there's no change. So his emphasis on saying that the problem is centered on us as mind is extremely important, because if we think the problem rests with the perceptions out there, but so I can see that his emphasis, even though it's in highly rigorous and unrelenting,
Mhm.
that if we do not arrive at where the problem is, there is going to be no solution. And so those interpretations of the Course that think that Jesus helps us get car parks and makes money or makes a check arrive in the all of that sort of stuff has got nothing to do with the Course, because that would mean that our criteria, instead of our criteria of resting in God, where our mind is clear and aware and our heart is at peace, which is the goal of the Course, we will think that something else external has to happen. Whereas the whole point with the Course is you can have an unpreoccupied mind, a clear and unpreoccupied mind, so you're not preoccupied with your past guilt, you're not worried about the future, you're having self-hatred in the present. We can have an unpreoccupied mind and a heart at peace, irrespective of what's happening in front of us in terms of form. Is that right?
Right. We're not helpless victims of a world we can't control. So Ken talked a lot about the traps students can fall into. And I think that's one of those traps. We all can't deny that we want a better dream. We want to find the parking spot. We want whoever's bugging us to stop doing that. Say the things I want to hear. So of course we all want those things. But it can be a trap if I believe the Course is saying I can get those things, that the world around me will change to suit me, and that's how I'll get my peace. That's not going to be how I get my peace. Even when we get the things we want, we can see that it's not eternal happiness, joy, and peace, free of any anxiety. We'll just be afraid we're going to lose it. So for the peace that is of God, it can't be connected to a changing world, a shifting and changing world, and have it be contingent on that. But as I was saying, first, those traps are something Ken focused on. And I think that's a really important piece to stay on the right track, so that somebody's saying forgiveness does not happen between bodies, and your peace is not contingent on the dream figures, forms, and symbols.
Right. So that, and again, you see, this is the thing. Many people feel it's as if I forgive you. But let's say, for example, I've had an upset with you, and when I think of you, I just go, oh, I can't stand it. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm in an unforgiving state. I'm in a way of being in the world that is unloving, unforgiving, and it's associated with rage, because I'm pointing at you. I have no idea that I'm dramatizing my own self-hatred, because that's unconscious of. But through the practice of the Course, through the practice of forgiveness, I can see, wait a minute, I'm never upset for the reason I think. Because the reason that I'm upset is that I'm not resting in God. I'm not abiding in the conscious appreciation of the presence of God. When I'm not abiding in the conscious appreciation of God, I fall into all sorts of unhappiness. In this case, I'm angry at you. So when I go through the forgiveness process, when I arrive at the end, I haven't changed you. I haven't actually, in one sense, forgiven you, but I'm no longer hating you, because I recognize I haven't lost the feeling of we, because of the Course, because I see that you are a person like me who's got a wrong mind, and you're a person who's got a right mind, and you've got a choice. Because I see sameness.
Yeah.
I can be in a relationship to you in the world where I'm no longer being hating, but I haven't done it because of you. I've withdrawn when I'm in a state of forgiveness. When I was in the unloving relation to you, I was being the victimized, angry person, and you were being the right so-and-so. When I'm in a state of forgiveness, I awaken from that dream of unforgiveness and hatred, and I disappear as this hurt, angry person.
Yeah.
You disappear as this right so-and-so who deserves punishment. So that the forgiveness is a process that happens within us.
Right.
It has an effect in the world, in the sense that we know that when we've reached that point, when I think of you now, I don't grit my teeth and think, what a bloody.
Yeah. Right. We're not forgiving a person. We're forgiving what we projected out there. I projected, this guilty thing so that the guilt won't rest on me. I'm the good one and the other person's the miserable sinner. And I just reenact that all the time, whenever I get upset by anything in the world, a person, a situation, a circumstance. And I withdraw that, and that's what I'm forgiving, my own projection, the projection of my guilt outside of me. And the pain I'll be able to see when I bring that back comes from a willingness to be separate and not see sameness, like you said, seeing sameness.
Right. I think what an interesting point he said, people can get, use metaphysical platitudes in the course. Oh, the world is an illusion, it's not real. What Wapnick pointed out is that when you are believing that the world is giving you happiness or taking it away, you are making it real. So
Yeah.
that stops you getting, if I'm upset, I can say to myself all of the platitudes I want. The world isn't real, it's an illusion. But I don't believe that. And my upset tells me I don't believe that. So now I have a starting point. I can go, oh, I'm in unforgivingness.
Yes.
I'm in unforgivingness because I just know that it's you that's upset me. Now I can actually begin. And this unforgivingness, if it's not approached in the right way with the right understanding, will not be possible. You will not be. You see, Ken Wapnick's approach is not right because he said it.
Yeah.
Ken Wapnick's approach is an approach that can produce a very practical result. I can shift from the dream of unforgiveness and hatred, upset, fighting, struggling to find happiness and all that stuff. And that can be all laid aside, and I can discover a new life resting in God. If anyone is using the course in that way and arrive at that point, they know that they're understanding the course in the right way. But if they are not understanding the course in the right way, if they think that they have to they have to wait to the Holy Spirit to give them guidance on how to be able to negotiate the difficulties with their spouse, and then things don't improve, then they go, oh my God, God's not present. We need an understanding that God's presence is abidingly present, and it's always an option. No matter what the circumstances is, we always have an option where we can rest in God. And if we're not, it's the result that we are choosing not to right here, right now, as we are. And once we understand that it's a choice, then we can turn. It's like Plato's cave. Plato said that, here we are, we're stuck at the wall looking at all the shadows. Unless we turn around and face the sun and put the shadows at our back, we don't get rid of the shadows when we first turn. But if once we understand it's our turning to the sun that is the solution, but we're not going to turn unless we really realize we're looking at shadows.
Right, and we have no reason to believe at first that that it is a shadow. We think we stand on solid ground, and I think that transition first involves dislodging the fixed belief that there's something outside of me that is responsible for the way I feel. So that would be the first part. And like you said, you bring it back and kind of you're stuck with it. Well, I'm responsible now for the way I feel. And then you ask for help and look on that.
Yeah, that's what Wapnick made. This is what his stress was. He says, how does this metaphysical world, that the world isn't real, how do we bring it down to our everyday experience?
Yeah.
We bring it down by understanding that if we give the power of the world to hurt us, the world might hurt our body. You know what I mean? I mean, we're not talking about physical discomfort.
No.
The suffering about the physical discomfort can be resolved. So the thing is that what's so good about him is he made it extremely practical. So even though it's a sophisticated metaphysics and says the world isn't real, how does that tangibly work out? Well, your spouse might still be shouting at you, but that does not mean that your peace have to be disturbed. And then if your peace isn't being disturbed, then that isn't real in the sense it's having no real impact on you. It's just simply what the senses are showing you, but there's no, she is hurting me. That's all
Right.
gone. He or she might be there still saying horrible and nasty things. We're not
Yeah.
denying what the senses show us, but
No.
the meaning that we're taking from what the senses are showing us is entirely different. So we don't become hateful and we don't feel we're being victimized. And what was good about Wapnick is he insisted on this. He
Mhm.
insisted that the problem is centered on how I am seeing, not
Yeah.
on the world out there as an object that hurts me or uh, gives me happiness.
Right. And how much we love to judge those things. We love to judge the world. But I wanted to say, excuse me, one thing in follow up to what you said. Oh, I might have lost the thought. Um, uh, oh, maybe I lost it. But yeah, that, we
I was
love our
talking about
judgment.
I was
Go
talking
on.
about how Ken talked about that he was rigorous.
Yes, I got it.
Right?
I'm sorry, I just remembered it.
That's right.
He focused on,
We all have senior moments,
yeah.
particularly me.
Me too. He focused on being normal. So we're going to have difficult conversations. People are going to seem to be angry with us. Maybe we'll seem to be angry with them. Maybe, we have to go through and live our lives. We go to doctors when we're sick and we, take things that are supposed to be magical cures for the body. But we carry that lightly because once we understand that these things aren't cause, we do everything we're going to do, but we wear it lightly and we don't take it as seriously.
Right. I think that's the point. You see, and Wapnick always said that, he talks about as soon as you lose the peace and love of God. Now, that's a very interesting thing. You'd say, when you lose the peace and love of God. In the Course, there's this thing that we can rest in God. And
Mhm.
when we're resting in God, we are relaxed in ourselves, clear mind, peaceful heart, and we're not worrying about the future. We haven't got grievances of the past, and there's no self-hatred in the present. We're actually appreciating what the transcendental quality of innocence as our
Mhm.
life. This is the only thing that gets rid of guilt.
Yeah.
Then when things happen to us, suddenly we recognize that we've fallen away. So the
Right.
fall didn't happen just in the past. The fall is
Yeah.
happening today.
Right.
Then we're going to use what happens in front of us, and we're going to use this in order to get back home. So
Yeah.
suddenly we go, oh, I'm no longer home. Oh, okay.
Mm.
The process of forgiveness brings you home each time, because and it starts with a recognition. Look, I'm dreaming, caught up in myself, hating
Mhm.
people. This isn't, but because of the spiritual understanding that grows in us from the Course, we understand that experience differently. It now is an instruction to turn back to God. How do we turn back to God? Through this process of forgiveness, which is a very interesting thing. And he basically said that the whole of the Course is the practice of forgiveness. Our practice as a Course student is the practice of forgiveness, which
Right.
involves the recognition of it, what an idiot we're actually being now. We might be angry or upset or whatever it is.
Mhm.
What I mean by an idiot is a mindless, being mindless of God's presence, which basically is idiocy, irrespective of the form.
Yeah.
And then starting from that idiocy, we journey back home, right here, right now, as we are. And and what was good about Wapnick is that he made this the core principle of the Course. This practice of forgiveness is what the whole
Mhm.
book, 3 books, are about, of
Yeah.
how to actually convert my life into a pathway back home.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
it's an old-fashioned idea.
Yeah.
Is human life my end? Is this the end, the goal I'm having? Or can I convert it into a means to a higher end?
Yeah.
And fundamentally, he was very clear on that.
Right. Yeah. Forgiveness is our only function. And I think that's a really important thing to remember because if we're trying to do something, if we're trying to make ourselves holy or sound holy or seem a certain way, we're getting away from our function.
Right, right. And so I think that, and because he was a psychotherapist, he understood that what we're looking at is we're looking at the transformation of the individual, because he made it quite clear we're not trying to get rid of the ego. What we're doing is here, here is an individual who is hateful, fearful, and lonely, and here is an individual who is peaceful and has clarity and understanding.
Yeah.
So it's a transformation, because he said that that's the last step. That's God's step, getting rid of the individual. But so we're looking at our lives as an individual in the world,
Yeah.
and the fact that we as an individual can undergo a transformation where we're resting in God. We're still living in the world, do you mean, as an individual, but we have a
Yeah.
different mind and a different heart.
Right. And I think he could talk as well as the course about the fact that we're all insane here and it's something we can see. The way I've been living my life is not sane, you know. And if I continue on that path, I'm not going to be happy. So we can at
Exactly.
least know that.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So in one sense, it's not the reason that I like Ken Wapnick is not because I believe in him and I think he's right and all of this sort of stuff. I
Mhm.
like him because of the distinctions he makes and the confusions he takes away, so that you can clearly see what the course is and what its place is in your life and how to live its understanding. And
Yeah.
I think
I
that's what he
really
gave
had a
us.
deep appreciation for him saying the things that are difficult, to focusing on the parts of the course that are difficult to see. That the fact that we're here means we hate God and we want to crucify the Christ within us and kill the Christ within us. So what that gives rise to is the world that we're in and all of the attacks and judgments, condemnation. So I really appreciated Ken for that, and it's something that I don't see. I've never seen in anyone else other than Ken is focusing on the parts of the course we do not want to look at, which is the
Right,
parts of ourselves we don't want to look at.
right. Because we like the positive and the beauty,
Yeah,
but the reason we're so obsessed about the positive and the beautiful and stuff is because it's a reaction to defend us against the ugliness that actually exists, and
exactly.
defend us from the actual ugliness that exists in us, that we're being.
Right,
That's the
right.
last thing we want to see, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that sounds very good. But thank you for that, Kathy.
Thank you.
And
Always a pleasure to talk.
yeah, and he was a remarkable man, and he's a reliable commentator on the course, and he's got lots of lectures and stuff that you can get from the foundation on that sort of stuff.
Yes.
All right. See ya.
Yeah.